Welcome to ICAST 2020 Online, presented by Take Me Fishing. ICAST Online is also supported by these diamond sponsors. Each year, the show kicks off with the State of the Industry Welcome. This year is no different. Before we begin, let's take a moment to remember our friends and colleagues who have passed on. And now, without further ado, please welcome ASA's Board Chairman, Chris Meegan.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Meegan, and I'm the Chairman of the Board for the American Sport Fishing Association. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the first ever, and hopefully last, virtual international convention of allied sport fishing trades, known to many of you as ICAST. The fact that you're watching me electronically means that for the first time in many, many years, we will not be gathering as an industry to celebrate this great sport that we all love. There's no replacing the handshakes, hugs, fist pumps, or high fives that go along with a week of ICAST when we get to gather under one roof and celebrate what makes this the greatest industry in the world. And that's all of you. Over my nearly 25 years of attending ICAST, I've seen many amazing new products in engineering that I never thought I could imagine. But it was the people behind those products that made ICAST so special. The relationships we formed over the years became so much more than just business acquaintances. They became close friendships, where we shared our passion for the sport and our love for this industry and the outdoors. My favorite times in this industry by far are getting together with those very friends I've made in this association, and we've just fished. From the flats and reefs of the Florida Keys to the brooks and streams of Alaska, I've been blessed to fish all over this beautiful country while enjoying our greatest natural resources, the water and the land that water feeds. It is the great outdoors that we escape the pressures of life, where we put order back in the world and a spring back in our step. It is where we find beauty on the sunrise over the ocean or a last cast at dusk. It is where our country and the world have gotten solace from the pandemic caused by COVID-19. Never have so many turned off the evening news, put down the cell phone, and instead went for a walk, explored a new trail, or made their first cast. While much of our country was closed for business, the outdoors was always open. We went from a nation of spectators at major sporting events to willing participants in the outdoor lifestyle. In states that kept open our incredible waterways, they saw growth in fishing like never before. There have been very few positives to come from this pandemic called COVID-19, but getting out and fishing and reconnecting with the outdoors was certainly one of them. It is estimated that fishing will see nearly 8 million new anglers this year, to join the 50 million who had already realized the benefits of wetting a line and the escape it offers to be on the water. But without success, these new anglers will turn back to spectators, and that is where you all come in. We have to embrace these new anglers. We have to provide them with entry-level opportunities so that they can meet with success as we have for years. However, success for these new anglers isn't a 500-pound marlin or even a 5-pound trout, but it's simply the bend of a rod and a photo to go with it that says, "Look at me, I caught something." Our industry faces many challenges in addition to the pandemic, from access to clean water to government regulations that threaten our very way of life. We are constantly defending what so many have come to enjoy in fishing over these last 4 months while isolating at home. Today, those 8 million new anglers can become consumers, but even more importantly, they can become voices if we reach out to them and show them the way. With me on the program are Glenn Hughes, President of the Association, along with our Secretary of the Interior, David Bernhardt. In addition, our keynote speaker is the very impressive United States Representative from Florida, Brian Mast. You'll also hear an important update from Stephanie Vadalaro of the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation as they proactively approach this incredible opportunity of new and returning anglers. Before I turn this virtual podium over to Glenn Hughes, I'd just like to mention how important ASA Sport Fishing Pack is to our association today more than ever before. A strong pack opens doors on Capitol Hill, and those doors have been opened to us like never before. But as we all know, the political climate can change swiftly. And this association, through a strong sport fishing pack, will have to work harder than ever to hold the gains we have achieved while still looking to advance our goals and initiatives for this sport's future. By joining the pack through a nonprofit contribution, you're giving back to the sport that has been so great to us. And for those that have already donated, I thank you. In closing, I want to thank the board of directors from my heart. You guys have been a huge help over the years, and as a new chair, I leaned on you folks for guidance as we work through issues like we've never faced before in this industry. For all the time that you volunteered, I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. Thank you, guys. A big thanks is also warranted for our committee chairs, our members, and our sponsors for the volunteer time and the countless hours you also put in to make sure that this association moves forward. I know that that's done above and beyond your job. It's countless hours that you put in that make ASA what it is today. Thank you. And finally, to Glenn Hughes and his incredible team, I want to thank you for the hard work that you've done during this pandemic and all the hours that you've put in to ensure our future with ASA. This has certainly been a trying period in our industry and our association's history, but I am confident that with your leadership, the staff, and this board's guidance, we will come out stronger, ready to take on any new challenges that could possibly come our way, like locusts or even frogs falling from the sky. All kidding aside, I thank you for your support, and I wish you all good health and happiness as we enjoy this first ever Virtual ICAST 2020. Thank you.
And now, please welcome ASA's president, Glenn Hughes.
Hi, Glenn Hughes here. Thank you for joining us today for ICAST 2020 Online, the sport fishing industry's virtual trade show. It's an honor for me to be sharing with you the enthusiasm and innovation that is ICAST. And even though we aren't gathered in Orlando, we are very excited to bring together the largest audience of sport fishing industry professionals ever assembled. We also want to welcome all the anglers tuning in from around the world. Whether it's new product introductions, conservation and business webinars, how-to videos, government affairs engagement, or virtual happy hours, you'll be smarter, reconnected, entertained, and ready to tackle the rest of 2020. And very important to all the registered retailers and members of the media, electronic voting in the new product showcase starts Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. and continues until noon on Wednesday. Then, at 5 p.m. on Wednesday evening, tune in as we announce the winners for each product category. That sets the stage on Thursday for the retailers and the media to cast a single vote from those winners for the product they believe is the ICAST 2020 Best of Show. Look for me online Friday when I announce the winner overall. Okay, let's talk business. 2020 tackle sales started out on fire with record or near record sales in January and February. Well, who would have predicted what happened in March? The good news is that fishing is declared essential in most states, and now people young and old are fishing everywhere. Probably never in our lifetimes have we seen such dramatic changes in participation in product sales, from the cliff that we fell off in March to the unprecedented growth we've experienced from April right through today. To the governors that saw fishing as essential and stayed open, I say congratulations and thank you. Those states saw great growth in fishing license sales, and the manufacturers and retailers sold product. To the states that closed down fishing, it will be a little while before you catch up with the license sales, and for the manufacturers and retailers to make up for what they've lost. At ASA, we haven't slowed down for a second, as we continue to work even harder for you to ensure we are addressing our 5 pillars: clean water, abundant fisheries, access to those fish, trade and commerce, and increasing participation in fishing. Mike Leonard, our Vice President of Government Affairs, and his team have stayed connected via mobile phone and laptop with Congress, the administration, the states, councils, and other conservation organizations to engage in and lead our fisheries policy efforts, all to support our mission of looking out for the interests of the sport fishing industry and the entire recreational fishing community. While we continue to deal with invasive species, limits on red snapper, stripers, flounder, as well as tariffs and product exclusions and more, an ugly bill has cropped up called AB 3030. California legislature is taking it upon themselves to try to protect 30% of the land and water, and not only in their state, but across the country and the world. The last time they did this, Marine Protected Areas, or MPAs, were developed off California's coastlines, which halted participation and retail sales. Even today, we are still unable to fish in some of California's waters. We'll do our part to represent you, but we also need you to do your part to make sure you are receiving the Keep America Fishing emails and take action. If not, go to keepamericafishing.org and sign up so that you can make a difference and help stop another bad bill. So what's in store for the rest of this year? The COVID-19 pandemic had a devastating impact on the people around the globe. We are hopeful that a much-needed vaccine will be found. In the meantime, we want the country to remain open, and therefore, it's important that all of us act responsibly with social distancing, mask wearing in designated public areas, and washing our hands. Everyone must do their part to avoid a harmful return of this deadly disease. Of course, it's an election year, and no matter who wins in November, we plan to have seats at the tables of Congress and the administration when fisheries policy is being discussed. Included in these discussions needs to be the independent retailer. Now more than ever, retailers play a huge role in the future of our sport. As product sales continue to climb and new anglers look for information on product, how to fish, and where to go fishing, retailers are the on-the-ground connection to engage these anglers. The retailers must understand the issues and have their voices as well as their customers' voices heard when we talk about the politics of fishing. I believe when working together, all of us can make a difference for the future of fishing. I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our awesome ASA crew, who had to make a complete pivot from the physical show to an all-new, never-done-before virtual show this spring and summer. There were many sacrifices made along the way to prepare for this week, for you, and I want them to know how much I appreciate them. I hope you'll take full advantage of the many resources being offered here and enjoy the virtual experience that is ICAST 2020 online. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the screen our next speaker, Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation's Senior Vice President for Marketing and Communications, Stephanie Vadalero.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Vadalero, Marketing and Communications SVP with the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation. For 22 years, we've been working to increase participation in fishing, to create new customers for your businesses, and support the conservation efforts that keep our sport thriving. Our Take Me Fishing campaign has had great success doing just that. And as presenting sponsor of ICAST 2020 online, I'm pleased to bring you the very latest on fishing participation and provide you with some free tools and information to help grow the sport. Each year, we conduct a study with the Outdoor Foundation to measure fishing participation, and new data being released this week shows an increase in 2019 to 50.1 million Americans aged 6+ participating. This is the highest number we've seen since 1991 and puts us on a 12-year upward trajectory. There's specific audience segments we know are key to increasing participation as well, and I'm excited to share with you they're posting very strong numbers too. In 2019, newcomers to fishing increased to 3.1 million. Hispanic participation remained steady at 4.4 million, a historical all-time high for this segment. Youth participation decreased very slightly to 11.3 million, but is actually up as a percentage of the population. And female participation reached 17.9 million, up from 17.7 the previous year. Like many of you, we went into the pandemic with some uncertainty about how fishing would fare. But after a few weeks of sheltering in place, we started to see a huge wave of interest in fishing and boating. Visits to the Take Me Fishing digital properties are at an all-time high. And I believe we have a tremendous opportunity this summer to recruit newcomers and lapsed anglers alike. Our Take Me Fishing digital properties have seen 8.4 million visits in just the first 2 months of our fiscal year. That's a 79% year-over-year increase. In addition, we've seen a 350% increase in organic traffic, a 270% increase in state license referrals, and a 125% increase in YouTube views, with 4 million views in just 2 months. About 8 weeks ago, we made the decision to reimagine our marketing campaign, to create a new message and new call to action that would position fishing and boating as the remedy to COVID-19 that we all need. To help fill the void for people looking for things to do in small groups, close to home, and while socially distanced. In partnership with Discover Boating, we created a multi-channel marketing plan centered around a PSA being distributed nationwide. The campaign goal? To help more Americans experience the restorative health and wellness benefits of recreational boating and fishing. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Get On Board.
I'll show you how to unwind.
Come on, babe, let's go outside and take the boat out for a ride. I'm ready, I don't wanna wait. Cause the only time I'm feeling free is when I got that ocean breeze, so kicking it out on the lake.
Get on board.
Got the sunshine and the short line, it's a good life.
Get on board. Get on board.
Have a good time, casting that line, it's a good life.
Get on board. Get on board. Get on board.
Thanks for joining me. Please visit the Take Me Fishing booth, where you can find free materials to support the Get On Board campaign, along with some other fantastic tools to enhance your customer experience. The Get On Board toolkit includes customizable PSAs, social media images and videos, press release and local media pitch templates, and key messages. We also have some great information about 2 website plugins that you can use on your consumer websites to give your customers one-click access to fishing license information, along with places to fish and boat near them. Things look promising for our industry right now, but we need to keep that momentum going. Get on board with Take Me Fishing this summer, and let's work together to help Americans get back outside safely and responsibly.
Thank you, Stephanie. Our next speaker is the Secretary of Interior, David Bernhardt. The Secretary leads the department that represents 20% of our nation's lands, including national parks and wild refuges, among others. The Secretary is an avid sportsman, and we appreciate his commitment to advancing fishing opportunities on public lands and waters managed by the department. He's also made several visits to our members' facilities these last few months to listen to our concerns. Please welcome to the screen Secretary David Bernhardt.
It's great to be addressing you from a place I'm sure most of you know, Flamingo, Florida. Located in the heart of the Everglades National Park, Flamingo is the ultimate launch pad to one of the world's best fisheries, Florida Bay. ICAST presents an opportunity for those of us in the fishing community to see cutting-edge technology that promises to enhance and improve the angling experience. As many of you know, I've been an avid angler all my life. President Trump and I know that American anglers are among our greatest conservationists. Every time you purchase a rod, reel, or tackle, you help fund wildlife conservation. Last year alone, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service awarded more than $1 billion in grants for the Pittman-Robertson and Dingell-Johnson Act. Those funds are paired with state resources to improve access and conserve habitat. I want all of you to know that under President Trump's leadership, Interior has prioritized expanding access to our public waterways for the American people. Thank you for the opportunity to address you. Enjoy the show. Hopefully next year we'll all be under the same roof.
Our keynote speaker this morning is U.S. Representative Brian Mast, who represents Florida's 18th Congressional District. If you don't know Brian's story, you should. He served in the U.S. Army for more than 12 years, earning the Bronze Star, the Army Commendation Medal for Valor, and the Purple Heart, among others. Representative Mast lost both his legs in Afghanistan, but that hasn't stopped him from leading a very distinguished career. He is focused on veterans issues, as well as water quality and conservation inside and outside the state of Florida. He's an ardent and outspoken leader on important programs such as Everglades restoration and critical legislation called the Forage Fish Conservation Act. Please give a listen to Congressman Brian Mast.
Hey everyone, this is Congressman Brian Mast from Florida. I hope that you're all doing well. It is an honor to welcome you to this year's virtual American Sport Fishing Association ICAST event. We're really pretty sorry that you couldn't join us here in Florida this year, but I wanted to make sure that I was able to join you virtually for just a few minutes, celebrate the progress that we've made over the last year in our fight for clean water, and also give an update about where that fight is headed to in the future. Now, for those of us who are lucky enough to call Florida home, we know that fishing, it's more than a business, it's a way of life, being out on the water. We also know that the sport fishing industry, it's a catalyst that drives our recreation and tourist economy across all fronts. Now, in the community that I represent on Florida's Treasure Coast, there are more than 100,000 anglers who contribute roughly $349 million to our economy and support more than 3,000 jobs. That's just in my area alone. Now, this is just one of the many reasons why I've made it my mission to protect our environment, preserve Florida's most precious resource. That's our waterways, the waterways that my kids love to fish in, swim in, recreate in, boat in. Our environment, it doesn't discriminate based on demographics or ideology. It impacts every single one of us, which is why that I helped to found the Roosevelt Conservation Caucus here in the House of Representatives to face our environmental challenges head on. Now, together, we've fully funded the amazing Land and Water Conservation Fund, a great accomplishment. We've authorized the construction of the EAA reservoir south of Lake Okeechobee to help to move and clean water into America's Everglades. And we've secured hundreds of millions of dollars for clean water programs that are going to help to stop the toxic agricultural runoff that's fouling our waterways. I've also introduced bipartisan legislation that's designed to specifically to strengthen key protections for our fisheries, promote responsible management for forage fish. This bill, the Forage Fish Conservation Act, it protects forage fish, which you know are critically important for maintaining populations of recreational species like tuna and salmon and cod, things that we like to go out there and fish and catch. And this, it hasn't always been an easy fight, but as I learned when I was serving in Afghanistan, nothing worth fighting for really ever is. In fact, those of us that are anglers, we like the tough fight, right? Those of us that are fighters from the service, we like the tough fight to some degree. We live for it. To that end, we are currently fighting on multiple fronts to protect our water quality. It's something that we're firing on all cylinders on. Now, first, we are fighting against harmful regime of toxic spraying that's intended to manage invasive plants, but in reality is dumping poison into our waterways, which is in turn hurting our fishing industry, exacerbating the water quality issues, and harming Everglades restoration. Now, my standard is simple. It is that if I wouldn't put something in the bathtub with one of my 4 children, Magnum, Maverick, Madeline, or Major, it definitely doesn't belong in our waterways. It may not be the most scientific standard, but I think it's something that we can all rally around. We all have children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews or neighbor children that we know, and it's something that I think that if we could get to that point, we make sure that we have the most pristine, beautiful waterways anywhere in the world. I'm going to keep fighting on this front to find alternatives to toxic spraying like mechanical and biological management of invasive species. Now, second, we are locked in a heated battle over the future of Florida's waterways. Our goal is simple. Finally achieve shared adversity. Prioritize both Florida's public health and Florida's environment. Special interest groups are lobbying to put their personal profit ahead of clean water and ahead of public health. Now, I refuse to let that happen. So as we move forward in this fight, I will keep advocating to stop toxic discharges, prevent pollution that's ruining Lake Okeechobee and our estuaries, and send more water south to our Everglades during the dry season, to our West Coast when it needs it, and when this is so desperately needed on all fronts, make sure they get the flows that they need. My hope is that in these ways, we can work together to strengthen conservation programs, defend our environment, and protect our waterways, because at the end of the day, this is only the beginning. We must continue to address water pollution, change harmful operations that are destroying critical ecosystems, and ensure that our waterways continue to be fishable and swimmable for generations generations to come. My children that I just mentioned, and hopefully the grandchildren that they produce for me one day. Now together, I am confident that we can protect our waterways for public use instead of allowing them to be destroyed by private profiteers, building on the progress that we've already made to improve our water quality, help the sport fishing industry thrive. I look forward to working side by side with each and every one of you as we continue this fight. Now on that note, I just want to say again, welcome to all of you again to today's event. Thank you for letting me join you today, and I wish you all the best. You all take care.
Thanks for sharing your message, Congressman Mast. And thank you very much for your incredible service to our nation. It's now time to go and enjoy the show. Have a great week at ICAST 2020 online.